weed of the week is Pennsylvania Smartweed.
Let's be honest, Brent, this is a weed that got us in a lot of trouble when we were kids. When we were out pulling weeds in soybean fields, no big deal. We didn't have any problem. But as soon as we were able to start using Roundup, our dad got a bean rider, which basically was a bar that went out in front of the tractor, and there were 4 seats on it. So whoever was driving the tractor would have a spray gun, and then each of the people on the 4 seats would have a spray gun. So we thought, this is pretty cool. We get to just spray weeds with Roundup. Well, what we didn't realize is our soybeans were completely not Roundup resistant, and any splatter,
we realized that.
Any splatter, just a tiny little bit of splatter would be enough to kill beans. But with the weed
whoa, you can't say that it killed the beans, Darren. All we did is ding the beans up a little bit.
Oh,
yeah, okay. If we really overdid it, we killed them.
Okay, but now here's the thing with Smartweed is we've got waxy leaves, and when we're spraying, we just couldn't get the stuff to stick on the leaves. So we would spray a little more, thinking, well, maybe we just got to put a little more on there and we'll get some to stick.
Well, wait, though. You can't really say that's why we sprayed more. We sprayed more because we would go along 2 and 3 times riding the beans, and we would see, hey, we didn't kill that weed the first time. We better really put a dose on. Here's the whole problem. When you've got a waxy leafed plant, you have to cut the rate of water. We want more concentration. We want a higher concentrated droplet, and we will get absolutely better control.
All right, so here we go. So Brian's going to blame Dad right now that he was too chintzy and he wouldn't let us use enough.
Well, yeah, because he would tell us, mix it up 40-to-1, boys. 40 parts water to 1 part Roundup. Well, that was fine for some weeds, but that wasn't good enough for milkweed. It wasn't good enough for Pennsylvania Smartweed. So this is just an annual weed. It shouldn't be that difficult to control. You just want to keep your water volume down and raise the rate of whatever herbicide you're using just to make sure you get enough into the plant.
Now, one other thing too that we learned, and this is back a few years, we had some areas of our farm that needed drainage improvements. We had some poorly drained spots, and that's where we would normally see Smartweed. We used to call it water weed.
Well, yeah, but
there's grow kind of in those low spots.
Yeah, but there's also swamp Smartweed that we saw there, but we would find Pennsylvania Smartweed there too. This weed doesn't get real big, so think about it. If you have a small weed, it's not going to compete well with corn or even a big soybean or wheat crop. So if we can have a great crop there, if we have good drainage, we have good fertility, a lot of times we can choke this weed out.
All right, one other place that we would see Pennsylvania Smartweed would be creeping out into pastures, ditches, those kinds of things. Again, if it had a spot where it could compete a little more easily.
Yeah, we mowed down the grass too much or overgrazed the grass. Yes, absolutely. But this isn't that difficult a weed to control. Personally, in pastures and some of these non-crop areas, I prefer Distinct. I think that's going to give you the best control, but you could use dicamba or 2,4-D.
Yeah, I like Freelex. That would be another one to use too.
Well, that'd be the 2,4-D.
When we get into soybeans, here's where we had a little bit of trouble. Like we mentioned before, and we were out trying to spray for Pennsylvania Smartweed. What I would do though is start with the 3-pre strategy, and that's something that we didn't have back in those days. We didn't have those PPOs. They really do add some punch. Now, it's not going to completely wipe out Pennsylvania Smartweed, but it is certainly going to reduce the population.
If I was in conventional beans today, I'd probably want to have a little bit of Pursuit out there, maybe some Flex Star, something like that. All you're going to do is burn that weed down. You got to start with a good pre-program.
In corn, I like the programs that have a little more of a broadleaf component pre, but if you're in conventional corn, I just use a strong rate of a group 15. I'd use a full labeled rate. My preference though, if you're in corn where you can spray Roundup post-emerge, is I'd just start off with something like Verdict. That's going to do a nice job burning down any Smartweed that may be up, but it's going to give you some residual control on them too.
All right, turning to wheat, I'd probably start with Sharpen and follow up post-emerge with Husky.
That's all the time we have for our Weed of the Week, Pennsylvania Smartweed, but Iron Talk is coming up next.